In early February 2022, I was searching for ideas for my next web development side project. I stumbled upon this YouTube video by Owenergy, which was supposedly a compilation of every single time that Owen Wilson has said the word wow in his filmmaking career. It was apparently somewhat of a meme. The video spoke to me. It said wow. I thought to myself, what if I could make these wows programmatically available? What if you could summon Owen Wilson's wows, any wow, on command? What would humanity do with this power? The possibilities were endless. But the road ahead seemed daunting. I knew there were a ton of wows that I would need to go through and compile into a database. Therefore, I enlisted the help of my frequent collaborator, Alex Geloza. Gotta get started compiling these Owen Wilson wows. If you want, you can help. Help in what way? I won't, but how would I help? Get the wows. Extract the video and audio and get me the timestamps. Wow. No, I won't be doing that. I was on my own here. The goal was to create a Node.js Express server that would serve up different endpoints providing various wow responses. A random wow endpoint, an ordered wow endpoint, so you could grab the first and the last wows that Owen Wilson has ever said, for example, a specific wow from a specific movie. There were a ton of options here. I wanted the wow responses to be rich in data, so not only did I want the name of the movie in the response, I wanted the timestamp of the wow, a short video clip, an audio segment, the movie poster, a bunch of other information. I used the original Owenergy wow compilation video as one of my sources of truth, but I took it with a grain of salt since it included a bunch of instances that weren't really wows at all, but were more like ahs or woes.
Oh, come on, at least take a look.
I also used this article from ScreenRant.com. The process to extract Owen Wilson's wows was almost always the same. First, I found the movie online somewhere, then I tried to find a script of the movie. If I could, I searched for the word wow just in case to not miss any. Next, I screen recorded each wow moment and resized the video to various dimensions. I then extracted the video's audio and uploaded all the assets to Contentful. Finally, I copied all the Contentful asset links to a JSON file. It was definitely extremely tedious since I had to do this 91 times, but in the end, it didn't even matter because I finally had a completed JSON file of every single one of Owen Wilson's wows ready to be served to users. I wrote up some endpoints for my Express server querying this JSON data, and I was pretty much good to go. I built a nice looking front end for my app, I designed the logo using Canva and stole the general design from the Chuck Norris Jokes API, so shout out to whoever created that. I then spun up a free Heroku dyno. Keep in mind this was before Heroku shut down all free dynos at the end of November 2022, after which I was forced to migrate from Heroku to render.com, which still has a free plan.
Wow.
I didn't really know what to do at this point, or how to share this thing I built with the world, since no one I knew personally really cared. So I posted a link to the Owen Wilson Wow API on Reddit, specifically the subreddit, The Internet is Beautiful. And then I went to sleep. The next day, I checked on my Reddit post to see that it had over 5,000 upvotes and a bunch of comments and awards. I was honestly floored. You see, as a self-taught web developer, imposter syndrome can creep up at any time, so this sort of validation was quite reassuring.
For you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
Also, as a self-taught web developer, I owe a great deal to freeCodeCamp.org for helping me get started on my coding journey back in 2019. I can't recommend it enough for any folks looking to get into programming themselves. I even wrote an essay on the freeCodeCamp forums on how I personally used it to switch careers. I'll include a link to it in the video description below. Anyway, I recommended freeCodeCamp in a comment to a Redditor who was looking for guidance on how to use the API, and lo and behold, the founder of freeCodeCamp, Quincy Larson, reached out to me personally and called my API high art. He even shouted me out on his Twitter page, which was pretty awesome. Then, BroBible featured an article on the Owen Wilson Wow API, which was shocking. Maybe not as shocking as being on the front page of HackerNews, though. Someone on the HackerNews page recommended that I at least try to contact Owen Wilson to get him to endorse this thing, so I contacted two of his representatives, his agent, and his publicist. I didn't get a response, unfortunately, so if you know Owen Wilson personally, or if you are Owen Wilson,
Hi, I'm Owen Wilson.
do get in touch. Somehow, this random, ridiculous project I made was starting to generate a little buzz.
Okay, anyways, there's now a database, I sent you the link for it, where someone has gathered every single wow, and you have the ability to go through this data and I guess summon or harness your wow of choice. You can now spend more time than you probably should to make sure you go through every single wow.
The Owen Wilson Wow API.
GitHub, like github.com, like the place that houses the open source repository for the Owen Wilson Wow API, the GitHub gave a shout out to both me and my project on Twitter. Contentful, the website where I store the Owen Wilson Wow assets, also tweeted about my new API and even featured it on its new content developer showcase. Folks all over the world were starting to take notice of this absurd API I made as well.
Às vezes eu fico impressionado como a internet pode ser um lugar maravilhoso, velho. Tô aqui, de buena, só lendo notícia aqui no meu quarto, esperando o soninho bater, já jantei, tô tranquilo. E daí eu me deparo com essa atrocidade aqui. Atrocidade não, vou dizer que é uma pérola, na verdade. É a melhor coisa que já aconteceu comigo no meu fim de semana. Quero que vocês prestem atenção nessa manchete aqui. Bom, vocês sabem quem é o Owen Wilson lá, aquele ator que faz uau pra tudo e tem aquele meme? Algum indivíduo construiu uma API para pegar todas as vezes que ele fala uau nos filmes dele. Tipo, olha a capa do site. Maravilhoso. E olha a quantidade de dados que eles te dão. Gente, é o seguinte, tem gente que fala que engenheiro da computação é nerdão e não tem senso de humor. É que vocês têm que entender o senso de humor do nerd, entendeu? É isso que eu tô falando.
Probably my favorite part was that people were actually building really cool things with it. One person set up a home automation tool that played a random wow on their smart screens whenever somebody expressed a strong feeling in their family's group chat.
Wow.
People have also built multiple Discord bots, Slack bots, SDKs, and personal projects using the API. It's even being used as a learning tool.
We are going to use the Owen Wilson Wow API. And this API is a massive database of every time Owen Wilson says the word wow in a movie. Yes, this is a crazy example, but the general thinking here is you want to use an API whenever you want to interface with either someone else's data or you want to save your data into someone else's system or your own API system.
If you're at all familiar with the latest front-end web development tools and trends, you might have heard of AstroJS. Astro is a tool for building static websites with your favorite JavaScript framework or library. It's become an increasingly popular development tool with over 26,000 stars and over 1,000 forks on GitHub. If you ever find yourself on Astro's homepage and scroll ever so slightly, you'll find a familiar API under the API content section. Here's Astro's founder, Fred K. Schott, talking about it.
I see Bryce Ray in your chat saying, no more Pokemon APIs, please, I beg you. Don't worry, Bryce. My new API of choice is the Owen Wilson Wow API.
I'm sorry.
It's amazing. Owen Wilson Wow. I think that's all you have to search. I literally snuck this into our homepage. It is hidden as an Easter egg.
Chaos.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
As a huge proponent of open source, naturally I made sure that the source code was available to the public. This has benefited both myself and the community in many ways, one of which has been the setup of an OpenAPI 3 specification YAML that allows developers to easily import endpoints for the Owen Wilson Wow API into tools like Postman and Swagger and explore its various responses.
Look some other APIs that are available there. Believe me or not, there's like so many services that there's a wow by Owen Wilson. You know, every time when you watch the movie with Owen Wilson, he says, "Wow, there's API can get you the particular moment in the movie." And they have open API spec that allow me to play around with this API and build some of the client in Java and start using this in my applications. So learn open API spec and learn from the best who already implement these APIs and you like them.
Another benefit has been a front-end refresh button enhancement to hit the random wow endpoint again without refreshing the page. And that about catches you up with the state of the Owen Wilson Wow API so far. Unfortunately, Owen Wilson himself has stated that he wants to be done with the phrase and bury it in the past.
Are we going to get at least one wow from Owen Wilson as Mobius? A good Owen...
I don't think we have one. A lot of people keep asking me this, and I don't know if we have one. Owen wanted to do something really outside of himself.
It would be quite a moment. It might be a little too meta, but it would be quite a moment. I know the memes would go crazy.
It makes sense, therefore, that he hasn't said it in a film since 2017. After over 20 years of wowing, he claimed that he was finally done. The question remains, will he ever say wow again? If he does, you can bet that it'll be added to the Owen Wilson Wow API, but for now, there don't seem to be any new changes on the horizon. You can find the Owen Wilson Wow API at owenwilsonwowapi.ontherender.com. I'll include a link to the public GitHub repository in the description of this video. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please leave a like and a comment below. If you'd like to see more videos like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you made it this far into the video, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, I really appreciate it. Secondly, I'd like to leave you with a parting gift from Owen Wilson himself that'll leave you saying, wow.